I wanted to be sober, but seeing my family who has done everything that they can for me and I'm doing nothing to help them in return, it just kind of stuck with me. And like, those are my best friends. My family is the only thing I need in my life to be, okay. And I was tired of hurting them. Like, my facial swelling was huge, but like, pain wise, I started to have liver pain, and I am a respiratory therapist. So my first issue is my lungs. I feel like it's my lungs. I have a pneumothorax, which is a hole in my lung. So I'm going to the ER. And this is when they were doing a CT scan of my chest, and they just so happened to see a part of my liver was a little fatty. This is when my doctor and the ER had brought up to my mom, like, this isn't just normal drinking. Calling 10 people before I can have a drink, sign me up. I also hate talking on the phone, so it's like, I'm not going to call anyone.
That's smart.
Yeah, so never came down to making those 10 calls, huh?
Never. It was never an option. But I did a lot of stuff outdoors.
This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Hey everybody, just want to welcome you to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. This episode's brought to you by Sober Strong Apparel. Sober Strong Apparel isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. We got heavyweight t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats, we got banners like this one right here. They've got so many options now, even shorts, joggers, so many cool options. They represent recovery, and 10% of every purchase goes to treatment facilities. And if you use code ROCKBOTTOM, all capital letters, all one word, ROCKBOTTOM at checkout, you can get a 15% discount. So use that at checkout at SoberStrongApparel.com. Love this company, love their mission, love what they represent. Be sure to check in and ask about the Impact Sponsorship Program. It's a great way of giving back. It's a great program from a great brand. Definitely check them out and talk to Chris, DM on Instagram if you're interested. Otherwise, go to SoberStrongApparel.com. Check out all the cool options. We like to rock recovery like a badge of honor. I love this brand. Love what it stands for. Stand on business. The next chapter is yours. Enjoy this episode. All right, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan, here with co-host Rachel Sereni. We got Bailey as our guest today. Bailey, how you doing?
I'm so good. How are you both?
Doing well.
Good.
Doing well. Really
Thank you for coming.
excited to have you on. Been
Yeah.
looking forward to doing this interview with you and hear your background and your story of recovery. And as you know, we talk a lot about addiction and recovery on here. And based on a lot of the content I've seen, like on your TikTok and stuff, you've been through it. So, and you've overcome a lot. And what is your sober date and drink or drug of choice, and where are you from? Just all the kind of the basic facts about you.
Yeah, my sober date is 4/26/24, and my drug of choice or anything like that is alcohol, and I am from Moab, Utah.
Utah. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. Awesome.
And where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
So I actually grew up in Moab. I'm back in Moab, but it was, I would say, pretty regular. I spent a lot of my time outside. I actually grew up LDS, which is Mormon in other words. So I don't practice that religion anymore, but yeah, that's kind of how my childhood was like. I had siblings and all that fun stuff.
Oh. Awesome. So how many siblings did you have? And like, what was it like growing up in the LDS exactly? Like, I don't think we've interviewed somebody from the LDS church, so I'm curious.
Yeah, it kind of not forced, but it kind of promoted some really bad habits to drinking. It was so shameful to drink in the Mormon religion. So I kind of did it in secrecy while I was still practicing. But I have 3 older siblings. I'm the youngest. We all have like our own beliefs with God and everything. I don't know if any of us really kind of go with the Mormon religion anymore, but we still have our beliefs, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. How
I understand that.
did that did that play a
Yeah.
role in like your view on? Because I know like when I've gone to Utah and stuff, like the laws are different when it comes to drinking and stuff. So did
Mhm.
that like affect your outlook on drinking early on as a kid?
I feel like from the start, I knew that I was never going to stay in the Mormon religion. I had my questions about it. I did not like being told what to do. So from a very early age, I knew that I kind of wanted to get out and explore all the possible things that I couldn't do in the religion. So drinking was one of those things. And I just took it and ran with it. I loved it. But I don't feel like that is most how people leave the Mormon religion. I think that I just have a very addictive personality and that kind of led me down the path.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Is no, you first, Rachel.
well, my question was like, okay, so you didn't want to, basically you didn't like the rules of the religion and you were feeling like a little like testy and defiant is basically what I'm hearing. But take us on the journey of the first time that you got drunk or intoxicated yourself.
Yeah, I was very young. I was probably 13 or 14. I was in seventh or eighth grade. And it was with a group of friends. We were having a sleepover, and her parents had alcohol that we had found. And I probably took a couple sips. I think it was like margarita mix, like a 14% margarita mix. So nothing insane, and a few sips. And that was about it. I didn't really feel anything. So the first time I drank was not very memorable for me.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then going into like say like high school and stuff, how were your grades and like did you do extracurriculars and all that and stay pretty busy and like you know like made your family proud and all that stuff? Relationship with them was good. Like how was high school?
Yeah. For sure. I grew up dancing, so I was on the drill team in high school. Every other year, I would switch between cheer and drill, and I would run track. So I was pretty active. Sports is something I really love. I love being outdoors, anything like that. Like that's totally my jam.
Hmm.
But it wasn't enough for me to like focus on being good. Like I still like to go out and party and stuff like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
Awesome.
And when did it start getting out of hand for you?
I think when I moved to college, I had this awesome sense of freedom. I had my own dorm room. I didn't have to come home to my parents. I thought that was so cool. So I think that's when my drinking started to really get bad. But when it became problematic, I was probably a senior in college. So a little bit later.
And what,
And
take us through like a 24-hour period of that.
Yeah. Okay. So I was in my respiratory therapy program, which is insane to me that I was drinking during my schooling. But we would have class at probably 9 a.m. and me and my friends would carpool. And I would bring my little cup. I would have two White Claws already in my cup for my classes. And I would sip on that for the first part of my class. And then we had an hour break and we would go to the liquor store. And I love drinking wine. So wine was my thing
Yeah.
after our break. And, it got you a little drunker, a little more fast. It was way more appealing to me.
Yeah.
So that's what I would
'Cause it's
drink for the rest
fancy.
of class. And yeah, and by the end of class, I was probably a little more than tipsy, and I would still drive home with my friends sometimes. I wasn't driving all the time, but the fact that I even drove with them in the car is not okay.
yeah, were
And
you
I'd
like
get
able to
home.
like because what
Oh, sorry, what was
when I
that?
would go to class after drinking and stuff, I just like would think I'm learning and retaining information, but then I would go back and when I was sober, I wouldn't remember anything I learned when I was drinking. Was that a problem?
Uh-huh. I honestly feel like I was just really interested in what I was learning, like everything about like human body, health, and all that stuff is super interesting to me. So I don't know if I was really ever sober the last year of my college experience. So I think I was just kind of tipsy the entire time, but I ended up graduating with honors. So it was really
Okay.
surprising, but something I'm really proud of, which is kind of crazy.
That is impressive. I was always so envious of those people that could party hard and do all that stuff and still get everything done. I'm just like, No, I was not that person. Took me 5.5 years to graduate, so
Hey, you
Well,
did it. That's what matters.
there you go.
I still got it done. Still got it done, but that college is the reason I partied hard in the first place. I didn't even really drink in high school, maybe like 3 times. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
so I was
crazy.
kind of like a late bloomer. It was like releasing me to the wild, going straight to a college town. And first week I was there, I drank more than I drank my entire life in the first week, and I was like off to the races. So yeah,
I can't even
Oh,
imagine what would have happened to me. Thank God I didn't go to college, I guess, or finish.
yeah, yep.
So were you experiencing any health issues though? Like when you were doing this daily, you passed with honors. That's great. But like, what were you going through physically?
yeah. The big thing that I noticed is like my facial swelling was huge, but like pain wise, I started to have liver pain, and I am a respiratory therapist. So my first issue is my lungs. I feel like it's my lungs. I have a pneumothorax, which is a hole in my lung. So I'm going to the ER. And this is when they were doing a CT scan of my chest, and they just so happened to see a part of my liver was a little fatty. This is when my doctor in the ER had brought up to my mom, like, this isn't just normal drinking. This is something that's affecting her liver. She has hepatic steatosis, I think is how you pronounce it. But that's the start of fatty liver disease. And I had not been drinking, you know, long enough to have fatty liver disease. That's just the amount I was drinking was just excessive enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen like pictures of from the past, like on TikTok and stuff, and you've shown a lot of before and afters, and it's like night and day, like
Yeah.
did you hear about like health issues? Like did they tell you things like they told me, like if you continue like this, you might live another few years at best. Like did you ever hear news like that after a while?
They actually never said that to me, but they said, like, your liver is not you have damaged your liver so much at your young age that if, you keep going, it's not gonna get better. Like
Yeah.
you need to stop now if you want to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That must have been scary,
But I
but
think that what stuck with me. Yeah, exactly. That's so scary.
that's what I was going to
Yeah,
ask
it's
though.
frightening.
Is that what stopped you or did you keep going?
I think that I was at this point in my life where I didn't care if I lived or died. I was very content with the fact of me not living another day. And I had my car accident, which was a suicide attempt, and that didn't even get me to stop drinking. It was a couple
Wow.
months after that where I finally realized, like, I'm really hurting my family. My family's going through a lot because of me, and I think that's one of the main reasons I quit. I wanted to be sober, but seeing my family who has done everything that they can for me and I'm doing nothing to help them in return, it just kind of stuck with me. And like those are my best friends. My family is the only thing I need in my life to be,
Hmm.
okay. And I was tired of hurting them.
If
Yeah.
you're comfortable going into it a little more, like the suicide attempt, can you take us through, like, did you ever kind of figure out maybe what you were numbing and the kind of pain that was there like trauma that you were numbing, or was there something about yourself you weren't okay with? Like what led you to like drinking so heavy and then a suicide attempt, do you think?
Yeah, so I had been with this boyfriend for 6 years. We started dating in high school and broke up right after I graduated college. And we had broken up because I had cheated on him and while I was drinking. It was stupid, and it's something I always regret because my
Hmm.
intention is to never hurt anyone. But, that's where I was at in my life, and I just didn't care about his feelings or his regard. So
Hmm.
I fronted by him and I just opened it up and I told him. And I would say after that, when I started living on my own, I had no care in the world whatsoever. Work couldn't stop me from drinking. My family couldn't stop me from drinking. I was just so depressed that I had ruined a relationship with a great person. He was so kind and like at the time everything that I wanted in my life, but
Yeah.
I ruined that. And so I was driving home one this was even like almost a full year after we had broken up. So I was still sitting with this heavy emotion of guilt and shame that I had done because of this. But I was driving home from a weekend bender. It was long. I don't remember a lot of it, but this song came on the radio and it talks about how he's lonely and he needs help and he only has like a few more days left. He can only do this for so much longer. And that just really resonated with me at the time. And I texted my family. I told them that I loved them. And I said, it's now or never. And I just jerked the side of my wheel that instantly knocked me out. I was going 80 miles an hour. I took my seatbelt off and I was lucky to walk away with a broken sinus in my face. And that's the only injury that I had.
Wow.
That
Thanks for
touches
going into
me
that.
so
I know
much.
that's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like honestly one of the first people that actually opened up about something so serious like this, Ryan, at least something that I've been a part of. So thank you for that. But oh my God, I'm glad you're
Yeah.
here.
Me
First
too.
off.
Yes. It was a blessing.
Yeah, going
I'm a-
through
yeah.
something like that step by step is really huge. So we're grateful for you sharing that on the store and on the show and being vulnerable. So
Yeah, thank you for letting me. I just want to share awareness and, let everyone know that they're not alone in these moments. These happen and they're tough, but there are people who want you here and you deserve to be here. So
Yeah.
that's like my
yes,
biggest
thank
thing.
you. And after
Seriously.
that attempt and stuff, like what when was it kind of like does another type of intervention come through, or how did it play out after that before you got sober?
Yeah, I got sober for about a month after, but it was more like to please my family, and I knew it was not gonna last. So I had relapsed after a month at a Halloween party, and I asked my family with permission. I said, "I'm gonna have a couple drinks, but that's it." And then, like the same weekend, I was flying to Washington to stay with some family because I was on watch, I had just tried to kill myself. My family did not want me to be alone. So they were going out of the country and I had to go to Washington to stay with some family. And on the plane ride home from Washington, I was so drunk. It was like there's no moderation for me. I cannot have just one drink. But that was the start of my excessive drinking again. And one day I was really drunk. It was probably like 12 p.m. That was so normal for me to wake up and just automatically start drinking. But Fridays, my dad is home and I lived with my parents at the time. And he had found that I was drinking. I knew he was going to tell my mom. So I hid my alcohol in my car and I was gonna go drive to drop it off somewhere so no one could find it. And he stopped me and he said, "You are way too drunk to be driving. You should not be driving at all. Do not go get in your car." And so that had him like prompted him to call my mom, let her know what was happening. And she had called my therapist and she was like, "I don't know what to do with Bailey. She's been trying to drive drunk and that's not okay. Like, never okay." And my therapist was like, "Next time we have a session with Bailey, I will bring you in and we'll have a group session." And I don't know if they had talked about this before or this was just, something that just happened. I don't know. But I was getting ready for my therapy appointment a few days later. And I'd heard to go to rehab so many times. Rehab was not mentioned to me once or twice. It had been hundreds. Okay. But this time I was like, she's going to tell me I'm going to rehab. Not I need to, but I'm going to rehab. And I just kind of
Yeah.
laughed it off like, no way, that's so crazy. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. I sat down and she said, "It's time for you to go to rehab. You're going to rehab." And the next day I had 3 rehabs listed for me. I went through all of them. This just reminds me, I had actually visited one of those rehabs before, but I wouldn't do it because I didn't want to do outpatient and I was not sold with the place. So I'd actually toured one of those rehabs and decided that I didn't want to go. But I found another rehab that fit me perfectly and
Mhm.
so glad I went because I've been sober ever since.
How long were you in rehab?
I was in rehab for 47 days.
I was in
Yeah.
there for 45, so I totally get it. And I had same thing for me.
When
I didn't want to go. I knew that it was coming though. Like my family and friends were all sick of me, and I was just kind of like, if they do suggest it, I probably will agree to it, but I'm not going in happy.
Mhm.
So after 2 weeks, I started to embrace it. But
Yep. So true.
I didn't go to rehab either. You guys just have this crazy thing. Yeah, I didn't go to rehab, and I should have probably went to rehab. I like raw dog that.
What?
Yeah,
That
not
is
smart.
that is really impressive and hard. Wow, congratulations. Getting sober
Thank
is
I
hard.
wouldn't have been
Getting
able to
sober without
survive
that.
without rehab. So
Yes,
I'm
I
impressed,
didn't
literally.
Rachel.
know. Well, first off, nobody talked about it with me. Nobody was like, "Hey, like Rachel, you should go to rehab." Everybody's just like, "Go to an AA meeting and stop drinking." Nobody like thought about the medical part of it. So I like was just like, "Oh, I'm sweating like a lot, and I'm really shaky. I wonder why." But yeah,
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
scary.
47
I'm
days.
so glad you're good.
Yeah,
Did you
but
experience
I mean,
tough withdrawal symptoms, Bailey?
yeah, that's what I was literally. Yep.
Yes and no. Like, kind of the jitter, not the jitters, but like shakiness, vomiting, nausea. That would be, I honestly just got to the point where I would not go into withdrawals. Like, I was constantly just drinking.
Yeah.
But when my drinking was really bad, my withdrawals would send me home from work because I worked night shift and I would not drink on the job. I would just show up to work drunk, which is not good either. I don't know, but yeah, that was probably the extent of it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then once you got out of rehab, what was your daily life like then?
It was honestly me trying to find stuff to do to occupy my daily life. I had a therapist in rehab and he said, "You need to list 10 people, me included, and you have to call these 10 people before you can go and pick up a drink." And I just loved that because first off, my biggest thing is when I'm feeling a craving, I want to talk about it. I want to talk to someone. I want this to be news so everyone knows that I am craving alcohol because those people can step in and help me realize how amazing my life is, even though I don't feel like it is. So I think that that's a great idea. Calling 10 people before I can have a drink, sign me up. I also hate talking on the phone. So it's like, I'm not going to call anyone.
That's smart.
Yeah. So never came down to making those 10 calls, huh?
Never. It was never an
Uh,
option. But I did a lot of stuff outdoors. I was big into AA when I first got sober. I'm not into AA anymore. It just doesn't work for me in this small town. But yeah, I would go to meetings a lot. I would read the big book and I was just like I'm really proud to be sober and I think that that is what helped me in the beginning. I was so happy and proud to be sober.
I love
awesome.
that.
Awesome. Me too. That's great. And then
Mhm.
when did you kind of start incorporating your sobriety and like early recovery into like social media?
Yeah, I don't even know what it was. I think I saw a trend. I was posting like makeup videos because I am like so girly. I love the beauty stuff. And I saw this one trend. It was too messy, like the I'm too messy, whatever. But it was like, here was me 7 months ago. Here's me now. And I was like, wow, this would be awesome. Like 7 months ago, I went to rehab and now I'm sober. So it was like, last year at this time, I was an alcoholic who drank daily. This year, I'm 7 months sober. And they got like, more traction than my usual videos did. So that was kind of inspiring to me. Like, people really like this kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
also, in the beginning, I found that it is so helpful for me to post and stay sober. Like,
Yeah.
it just gives me an activity. It's been so, so nice, and that's my community. AA is not for me, but TikTok is my sober community. That's how I stay in touch with other alcoholics.
It's
Okay.
awesome. And for our listeners out there, I was telling Bailey and Rachel before we started recording that when I was in early recovery, when I just started the podcast, I actually, before I started the podcast, Bailey's one of the first people I found in the recovery pages, and I just started watching the content and seeing like the sober glow up and everything, and I was like, I want to be there someday. So I mean, the video content was inspiring. So
He's not
Thank
I
lying.
you.
appreciate
He
it,
like
Bailey.
sweats
You were
out.
you were a part of my early recovery. So
He
yeah,
really told me this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I post for me, but like the best part is that if it can help someone else, that makes me want to post.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Same reason
Exactly.
we do this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
All of
it's
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yes.
somebody out there can relate, so yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Someone can relate.
And outside of your content creating and everything like that, what is daily life like now?
I have a little I say he's a puppy. He's not a puppy. He's 2. We turned 2. I turned 26 and he turned 2 on May 16th, but he is just my pride and joy. I just love that little guy. I like to get outside the house. I live in a beautiful part of Utah where the outdoors is like 10 minutes away. Like it's crazy. I can go in
Yeah.
someone's backyard and I'm climbing up a mountain. So I like to be as active as I can in the summer, go to the river, but it's hard for me to be motivated in these summer months to keep posting because I just want to be outside. So I think I need to get back on track and make TikTok more into my daily life. I would like that. But,
Hmm.
it's just surrounding myself with good people and, trying to stay as positive as I can. I work a week on and a week off. So on my weeks of work, it's constantly what I do is just work. That's where my mind's at the entire time. But on my weeks off, I love to chill and that's
Hmm.
when I should focus myself on TikTok.
That's good. I'm looking at like some of your content now, and a lot of the posts are like things that people can relate to. Like, for instance, you posted something when I go on a date with a guy and he asks if I can grab a drink. Like, what is the response to that? Because I'm sure a lot of people in sobriety go through that where they're trying to go out and date in early sobriety or even long term, and drinking's always pressure. So how do you respond to that?
Honestly, I am very upfront about my sobriety and I let them know beforehand. I like people drinking around me does not bother me, but I am an alcoholic. I need a partner who respects that. I don't want someone who is constantly drinking in front of me. A couple drinks is fine every now and then. That's all right with me. That's how I feel in my sobriety. But if you
Yeah.
are meeting for the first time and you have to have a drink, I think that is just very disrespectful. And I make it known that that's not going to happen on the first date. And if that happens, I'm out. I'm not going to reason with you.
Good.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
good. That's why the content is just so relatable for so many people.
Yeah, for sure. It's so different, but it's been good for the most part.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man.
So,
Yeah.
Rachel, you have a question?
Oh no, I mean, I know you're in the medical field though. So what's sobriety? Like I'm in the medical field too. What's for me, I get anxious sometimes. I'm not gonna lie when there's like a rush of patients. How do you deal with sobriety being in the medical field?
I work at a pretty chill hospital for the most part. The work-life balance is amazing. So, if I get anxious, I can like decompress. I love to talk to my manager. My poor manager, she's probably like, this girl's always in my office talking to me. But
Yeah,
I just
I love
love
that.
talking. It just makes me feel so much better about things and like getting opinions on things. So she's really good at talking me back, but there's been a couple scenarios where I've seen some pretty hard to look at stuff and it like I want to drink again. It gives me anxiety to the point where I am just like I don't want to think about this anymore. I just want to get my mind off of this and the quickest way that I can do that is to have a drink. I didn't want to
Yeah.
process those emotions at the time.
Okay. And I noticed on some other things, like one of the things I could relate to is the hiding of the alcohol, like your family finding vodka under your bed and stuff, which, I could just relate to hiding it from my ex-wife or hiding it from virtually everybody, even though most of the people probably wouldn't have cared. But you get in that habit of hiding. Is it nice now just having that freedom and feeling liberated that you just don't have to keep secrets anymore?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. The fact that I can go home and not have to wonder if my parents had just found my stash of alcohol and if I'm going to go get yelled at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go home and the first thing they do is like, "Hi, Bailey, we're so excited to see you." You know, it's so crazy the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
It's nice that people in your life start to enjoy your company a lot more, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Seriously. Did you find any bottles in sobriety like left around your house or in your belongings?
I never found any, but I was definitely afraid to. Like, I had a shoe bin that I would stick alcohol in. My family was so good at finding my stuff and throwing it away that if I was gone, they probably went through my stuff when I was in rehab, and if there was anything, they probably threw it away. So luckily I didn't find anything, but I think that would scare the crap out of me if I did. I don't know how I would have reacted.
Oh, yeah, our hiding spots get so creative when we're like deep, deep, deep into the addiction. You know, like I was using my golf bag. I would lift the clubs up and stick the bottles down the golf club holes or whatever, and then put the
Mhm.
golf club over it. My wife's never gonna touch my golf clubs. You know,
That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but then after then I was in the hospital, she starts sending me text messages at the time. We're divorced now, but like she'd send me text messages say, "Oh, I checked your golf bag," and I was like, I guess I wasn't that smart. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Literally, like, I'm like, no one's gonna find this. And then they find it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay.
Oh, I
Yeah.
used to put
Not
it in my
that smart.
tampon box. I put it in my tampon box and in my makeup bag.
Like mini shooters and stuff, or
Everything that you could. There was, you know, the mini
Jeez.
wine.
yeah, the little
every-
mini wine bottles. Yeah, used to love those.
Well, yeah, me too. What about
I-
those box wines? I went hard on those, and they make me gag when I look at them now.
I would pour them directly into my mouth in my bed.
Yeah, I
That's
believe
at my worst. Yeah. Drink straight out of the nozzle, you know, like the shakes don't bother you because you don't have to hold the bottle up to your teeth and risk chipping your teeth. So I would stick the nozzle up to my mouth. I'm like,
Mhm.
Jesus, how was that not enough to know I had a problem, you know? So,
Oh, yeah,
So crazy.
definitely.
Looking back.
Gagging
So,
is enough.
so you're doing a lot of
Yeah.
great healthy things in your recovery, you know, staying active, spending time outdoors, making social media posts to help others and stuff. Like, based on like your experiences and everything you've been through, you know, like what advice would you like to give to our listeners for, you know, that are out there struggling or sober curious right now?
Yeah, I think that if you are questioning if you have a problem with drinking, you probably do. And I think that, a test run at sobriety, give it a few days, see how it makes you feel, but also go into it knowing that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be a cakewalk and you're not going to enjoy every single day. But I
Mhm.
think that living a sober life has opened my eyes to so many things. And I'm so grateful to be sober today and be present and get to share my story. Like, it's sobriety has given me so many opportunities, and I know drinking would have never given me a single one of these things.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to give up drinking and it's hard, but, there are resources out there. People want you to succeed. I went to a recovery center here where I live, and all they wanted me to do was just try. That's it. Don't be hard on yourself if you don't make it. Try again tomorrow. It's so worth it to live a sober and present life that
Yeah.
I would do sobriety over and over again to have this life. I would never give up. Even, relapses are
Yeah,
discouraging for sure, but it's so worth it to be sober.
good.
100%.
Are there any moments in your in your recovery that have been difficult, that were tough to overcome, where you maybe almost could have slipped up, or has it been just really, really easy to keep pushing every day?
I think that there's some situations where, sorry, I say that a lot. It makes it hard to want to be sober, but I've never been at the liquor store, like fighting myself to not pick up alcohol. I would say for the most part, my sobriety has been pretty easygoing. It hasn't been easy, but not many trials and tribulations have happened. So I am beyond grateful for that. And, I think it helps a lot that I don't have to, you know, go home to alone, find things to do. I don't know. I'm very lucky with who and what I have in my life, and I just don't want to take that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah, and I really liked how you said, like, if you're gonna go into sobriety, at least basically you were saying, like, educate yourself, know what you're getting yourself into. And I like that advice. Not a lot of people have actually said that either. It's true. Not a lot of people really know what they're getting themselves into.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, sobriety is
And
so different from what I would ever imagine.
and then
definitely.
do you still see like a therapist in recovery too? Or are you still kind of doing that to kind of keep working on yourself and all that?
I do. I see a therapist every 2 weeks, and I see my psychiatrist every month and a half. So, and my therapist is at the recovery center, which is awesome because I get to go see people who were encouraging me in early sobriety or even when I was still drinking to get sober. So it's really awesome that they can see my progression and they were some of the first people who believed in me that I could get sober. So it's like I love going there. I love seeing them. It's like my favorite thing. I love therapy.
Are you
Yeah.
ever gonna go there and like speak to people that are staying there?
You
Or have you
know,
already done
so
that?
it's just an outpatient little thing. It's a great resource for what my town is, but they do have some groups that they're like, "Come in on Friday at 12 and share your story." I just feel like it would be really quick, and I don't know if people would have questions. It's just like something I'm nervous about, but I would love to. And like I see people even who work at the hospital who are like, "Hey, there's this sobriety event coming up. We'd love to see you there." Like, it's just really cool what posting about my sobriety has done. Like, I love connecting with all these people who I would have never known were so.
Yeah.
Sober community is amazing. I mean, met
It's
so many great
Yeah.
people. Met my co-host through it. So I mean,
Yeah.
so
That's
many
where
in
great
me and
people.
her
respect.
met.
So cool.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be able to do this without Instagram because that sounds crazy. But it's very helpful. Yeah, the sober community on Instagram is very, very helpful for me for sure. And that's where I met Ryan, and
Mhm.
that's where I get all of you guys, all the guests. I find most of you guys on Instagram, and then I make a connection that way because, like you being in the medical field, I saw something very funny you posted, and I was like, I'd be doing shit like that. And then you're like, yeah, all the time. I'm like, so it's just fun meeting people like in recovery that just we understand each other, though. We all have like a level of understanding on hard days.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Completely agree.
We all got different backgrounds, but pretty much, same ending, same story. We all went through addiction. We all suffered from trauma. A
Mhm.
lot of us did, have suicide attempts and suicidal ideation. So there's so many things we can all relate to. So that's what I love
Mhm.
about the community. So, and
Yeah.
yeah,
and all of us opening up about it is huge. So
yes, about you opening up about what you said about the car accident, man, I'm just going to bring it up again. If somebody's watching, because normally like we ask the question, if people want to get sober, what advice do you have for them? But if there's somebody who is feeling suicidal, what advice would you give to them?
I think, talking is my favorite thing, like I've said. But you have to be willing to open up about these really hard topics. And that may even be with a therapist. If you have a therapist, call them when you're having those suicidal thoughts because the earth is so much better with you in it. There's no reason why you should leave early. You are a beautiful human being and there's so much more to life than what's happening right now. There's so many years ahead and you don't know when your life can change. But, talking about it and, making connections, being authentic and open, it's hard, but it's so worth it and it can save your life. Call 988. That's so helpful.
there are
I've definitely
resources
done
out there.
So true.
Coming from somebody who I never attempted suicide besides basically passively suicidal where I was like kind of drinking myself to death. Like, I don't care if I die. That's about as far as I got. But there was a moment where I did make a ton of text messages and phone calls one night when I don't remember doing it, saying, I was about to end it all or something. And then somebody made a wellness call and I ended up in the hospital. And, just the fact that I was in that dark enough place to even be saying those things, like, it just makes me so happy that I gave life a chance and I'm here today and I have a lot to share. And you're here today and you have a lot to share. Rachel's here. You know, we all three of us could not be here right now just based on how we took care of ourselves at the time. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Rachel, do you have any other questions?
Not any other questions. It's just it's relatable about the social media community, but just like thank you for what you're doing too, because like even Ryan, when like I said before, when I asked if he wanted to be on the show and he freaked out, I was like, what happened? Like, how do you know her? And he was like, that's one of the people I watched that helped me get sober. And I was like, oh shit. Like,
and I don't follow a lot of people on
That's
social media, and I was new to social media, but I was like, a lot of the stuff was like, even, you know, I'm like almost 40, but like, I was just like, a lot of the things you say are relatable, like listening to music and, you know, the whole dating thing and just, I don't know. So all that stuff was just like, all right, cool. I'm going to follow her. And then Rachel found you and I was like, oh yeah, I recognize her. Okay.
I'm so grateful that you let me on this. This is amazing. This has been awesome.
Can you shout
Thank
out
you for
your social media handles so people can check you out?
Yeah, so my name is spelled really weird. My name is Baelie, but it is spelled Baelie, and all of my TikTok and Instagram is just bae.lie. TikTok is more of my sobriety posts, and Instagram I kind of dabble with it, but not as much. So if you're looking for sobriety content, I'd head towards my TikTok.
All
Okay.
right, good to know. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
for being
Bailey.
on.
Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed this so much.
Best.
Thank you.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.